Vedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Prachadine Nirvishesha Shanyavari Paschachade Satarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. People may think I'm looking at the camera, but I'm looking at the deities directly across the room. After 3 days, Prabhupada's younger sister and god sister, Bhavatarani Devi Dasi, came from Bengal to be with him. Prabhupada had told us that she was a pure devotee, and she was, and to address her as Pishima, Bengali for the father's sister. She was respected and appreciated for her simple and pure devotion to Lord Krishna and his devotees, and her physical resemblance to Prabhupada endeared her to us even more. 5 days later, when Prabhupada asked for Bhavananda, Upendra told him that Bhavananda was outside with the Vaidya. This is Upendra and Giriraj, he said. We're just with you while they're talking with the doctor, finding out information. Giriraj? Yes, Srila Prabhupada. News from Bombay? The activities are going on. Haridas promised that he would maintain the collections for maintenance, so he's doing that with the help of 1 or 2 other boys. They always call devotees boys. I don't like that. The construction is in the final stages. We had a meeting to discuss the plans for the opening and the management of the new guest house and restaurant and theater. I think the plans are very good. We decided that we want to open around January so that we can take advantage of the facilities immediately so that the building doesn't lie vacant. Unquote. We had proposed to open the temple in October, but the work had not progressed enough, and devotees wanted to be in Vrindavan with Srila Prabhupada. Shubhasya Sigram. Prabhupada replied, quoting the well-known Sanskrit maxim that auspicious things should be done without delay, as early as possible. Shubhasya Shigram. The reason we selected January 8th was because many important devotees like Yasodanandana Swami was going out of India for collecting and felt that it would be easier for them to be back by then. No, it cannot remain vacant. For the Bombay opening, it is necessary to have those South Indian Brahmins, Tamal Krishna asked. If Yasodanandana Maharaj knows the ceremonies, then why? Guru Kripa Maharaj and others were expressing the feeling that Bombay is not like Vrindavan. In Vrindavan, there are so many smarta Brahmins, but Bombay is a very materialistic, modern, westernized city. Some of our devotees, Achyutananda and others, had themselves been invited for opening a temple. So it was the common opinion of most of the devotees that what is the need of hiring these 14, 15 Brahmins? In Bombay, the people don't care about this. No. Rather, they may be more impressed to have Western devotees doing it, and we save so much. Western Brahmins. Imported, I added, and everyone laughed. That was my prediction, Prabhupada said. As they're importing ghee and milk, similarly Brahmins also. Go Brahmana Hitaya. That's a nice proposal. Yasoda Nandana can do it very nicely, Harisori said. He did it expertly in Fiji, and the Indians there were very appreciative that the Western white Brahmins had done the installation. They were telling Vasudev, now we must take instructions from these men. They know puja. That is a good proposal, Prabhupada agreed. Tamal Krishna asks, would you like it to be opened on your Guru Maharaj's disappearance? Any, as early as possible. But that would be nice, Guru Maharaj's appearance day. It's his disappearance day, Tamal Krishna clarified. The disappearance day is December 29th, which is just the time when we want to open. I said, that's nice. So we could begin, quote, we make no such distinction, disappearance and appearance. Except in your case, I said, we don't want disappearance. Prabhupada chuckled. Jiva va mara va. Because we are going to accept eternity, the appearance and disappearance of this body is not a very important thing. Nitya Lila, eternal life. That is our Krishna consciousness. So, as early as possible, use as far as possible our men, and we can keep some local Brahmins as assistants. If we keep one or two South Indian Brahmins, they may take it that we are doing with cooperation. One or two can be kept, our local Brahmins. You can get local Brahmins to assist us. Perform the yajna gorgeously, that's all. If you can distribute to the important local Brahmins some silk cloth and grains, they will come. And let them cook themselves and take prasad and do that. I think the local Brahmins will be very pleased to be connected with the opening of such a big temple. Harisori said, yes. Prabhupada agreed. Ever since Prabhupada arrived in Vrindavan, we had wanted to pray to Krishna to allow him to remain with us. But as surrendered servants, we did not want to place demands on Krishna or impose on him. So we asked Prabhupada if we could pray for his health, and if so, how. He suggested that we pray, my dear Lord Krishna, if you so desire, please cure Srila Prabhupada. We prayed day and night, sometimes with Prabhupada's words and sometimes with our own. And I wrote a prayer which I wanted to read to him. When we entered his room, Prabhupada was lying on his bed as usual, and I approached Tamal Krishna. Prabhupada heard me and whispered and inquired, Srila Prabhupada said, I wrote a prayer to Lord Krishna for your health. I was thinking of bringing it to read to you. Oh, yes. My dear Lord Krishna, I read, you are known as Yogeshwara, the master of all mystic powers. It is very easy for you to perform the impossible, as you have done so many times in the past. By your merciful glance, you restored life to the boys and cows who died by drinking the water of the Yamuna River, which was poisoned by Kaliya. You swallowed a devastating forest fire to protect the inhabitants of Vrindavan. In the Rasa dance, you expanded yourself to be simultaneously present by the side of each gopi. As Guru Dakshina, you recovered the dead son of your teacher. When the hunchbacked maidservant of Kamsa smeared you with sandalwood pulp, you made her straight and beautiful. As a householder in Dwarka, you expanded yourself into 16,000 Krishnas and simultaneously satisfied each of your 16,000 wives. When Sudama Brahman offered you chipped rice, you transformed his poor cottage into a beautiful palace suitable for the king of heaven. To satisfy Mother Devaki, you returned her 6 dead sons from the kingdom of Bali. And to appease the Dwarka Brahmin, you also reclaimed his dead sons from Mahavishnu. When Srila Prabhupada sat with $7 under a tree in Tompkins Square Park, you transformed that tree into so many regal palaces, and you expanded that $7 into millions. When Srila Prabhupada spoke your message, you turned the Malechas and Chandalas who heard him into your devotees. And when Srila Prabhupada went all by himself to sell his Srimad Bhagavatam sets, you expanded him into 10,000 loving salesmen who worked day and night without asking any salary, and you expanded his suitcase of books into 55 million pieces of literature in 23 different languages. And then, when Hare Krishna land was lost to the demons, you returned it to his divine grace. From these examples, we can understand that for you, the impossible is not difficult. Rather, you have performed so many impossible feats for your devotees. Therefore, if you desire, please give Srila Prabhupada a new body. Excellent, Prabhupada said. Printed in Back to Godhead. I'm getting a little glimpse. He may agree to your prayer. Yes. Prabhupada wanted more than anything to see the opening of the Juhu temple. Quote, if I see the opening and then die, it will be a very peaceful death. And he had said in London, but he knew that his attendance might not be possible. Where is Giriraj? He asked one morning, a few days after hearing me read my prayer. Probably at Arati, Guru Puja, Tamal Krishna said. Now there's a class. Should we call him? No, Prabhupada said. They shouldn't. But a few moments later, he said, I want to speak to you all. Therefore, I was asking about Giriraj. If by Krishna's desire, he began without me, if I do not exist during the Bombay opening ceremony, then the ceremony should be very gorgeously performed, and everyone should be given sumptuous prasadam, whoever comes. Of course, the opening ceremony should be performed as early as possible. When I arrived, Prabhupada asked Tamal Krishna to repeat what he had said. Prabhupada said that if he does not exist till the Bombay opening, it should be performed very gorgeously. Tamal Krishna told me, and everyone should be fed sumptuous prasadam, and it should be celebrated as early as possible. And don't try to cook all the preparations in the temple, Prabhupada added. Order the foodstuffs from a confectioner. Have good stock and distribute. All of the prasadam or just sweets? Tamal Krishna asked. Sweets. There are many nice sweet suppliers in Bombay. Order them. How do you like this idea? It's a very good idea, except that we feel that you should personally be present, I replied. That depends on Krishna's desire. You are trying. I am also trying. Now it is up to Krishna Balaram's desire. You are the jewel that will make it all gorgeous, Srila Prabhupada, Bhagavan said. So I am giving the idea. After a short interlude, during which Prabhupada sat up and drank Complan and asked for soft kirtan, he said, I want association of Vaishnavas. You are all pure Vaishnavas. You have sacrificed everything, material comforts, for Krishna's sake. That is Vaishnava. Anyabi lasha shunyam. You have no other desire. You Europeans, Americans, you are born amongst material desires. And when you become free from material desires, therefore you are all Vaishnavas. Anyabi lasha shunyam. So you are so merciful. Because you are a Paramahamsa, Srila Prabhupada, you are seeing everyone else as surrendered to Krishna, Jayapataka said, but only by your mercy you are forcing us to serve Krishna. The next morning, Prabhupada asked, Bharadraj is here? I'm here, Srila Prabhupada. Bharadraj replied, You can sing Parama Karuna? Yes, Srila Prabhupada. Bhardraj took their harmonium, prayed for Prabhupada's mercy, and began singing. Prabhupada lay with his eyes closed. At intervals, he sang along, but so softly that Bhardraj could not hear him. Other devotees gathered around them. Repeat, Prabhupada requested after Bhardraj had sung through the song once, and Bhardraj did several times, after which Prabhupada said, "Thank you." That afternoon, when Bhardraj began playing harmonium again, Upendra conveyed the message that he had received from Prabhupada: no harmonium. So Bhardraj proceeded to sing Gauranga Balite Habe without the harmonium. But when Prabhupada asked Upendra, who was singing, and learned that it was Bhardraj, he said, "He can play. Harmonium will go well here." He asked to be sat up, and when Bhardraj began singing an early melody that he had heard sung only by Srila Prabhupada, Prabhupada began to gently clap in time. The following night, Prabhupada had a dream in which he saw a Ramanuja Vaidya preparing Makara Dvaja medicine. As Tamal Krishna told Prabhupada's staunch Vrajavasi friend and supporter Vishrambar Dayal, known affectionately as Bhagavat Ji, Prabhupada's dreams are transcendental, so that means Krishna has given some idea how to get Prabhupada treated. So the devotees began to search for that Ramanuja Kaviraj. The next day, Prabhupada dictated his purport through Srimad Bhagavatam 10:13-54. Discuss Bhagavatam daily as much as possible, he said. Everything will be clarified because Bhagavata is the essence. Nigama kalpataror galitam palam. And Vyasa Deva Krita. Kim va parayar. When he was self-realized, Vyasadeva wrote this, Mahamuni Krite. The more we read Srimad Bhagavatam, the more its knowledge becomes clarified. Each and every verse transcendental. Later in the conversation, I told Prabhupada that I had never met anyone with so many wonderful transcendental qualities. He laughed and said, "It has to be developed. Transcendental qualities are already there. Only when we are without designations do they become manifest. Swayameva svaratyada, sevanmukhihi jivadao, swayameva svaratyada. When we become prone to give service to Krishna, it becomes revealed. It is already there. Nothing is imported. Now, print books, distribute." Jai Krishna Balaram. A few days later, Tamal Krishna read Prabhupada a letter he had received from Haridas in Bombay. Quote, Gopal Krishna Prabhu showed me a voucher that ISKCON Bombay owed BBT India rupees 70,000, Haridas had written. When Srila Prabhupada said he wanted to stay with us, I got greatly encouraged and had a desire in my heart to pay back this money for Srila Prabhupada. I have been encouraging all the preachers here at ISKCON Bombay to go out and collect the money to pay off this debt to the BBT. Srila Prabhupada has made all this very easy because of his encouragement to us. Each devotee who has engagements where they are not likely to make a life member are making life members and are collecting money. And even persons not expected to become members are now becoming members. This is all through the desire of the hearts of the preachers in Bombay to serve Srila Prabhupada, and by his grace, everything is coming very smoothly. This confirmed in our hearts that without Srila Prabhupada, we cannot do any single work in this movement. Srila Prabhupada gives us encouragement just by kindly agreeing to stay with us. So yesterday on Dasami, we collected over 21,000 rupees and made 10 members. Prabhupada laughed and said, very good. We cannot express in English what we are feeling in our hearts, Haridas had continued, but we are all very encouraged to go out and collect for Srila Prabhupada and expand his life membership program, and we are all very thankful that he has been merciful. Very encouraging. Tamal Krishna commented. This Haridas is transformed. You said that it was due to the mercy of Vaishnava, Giriraj. Yes, Prabhupada affirmed. Tumita Takura, Takura Kukura, Balia Janaha More. My dear Vaishnav Thakur, kindly accept me as your dog. Giriraj gave him association, Tamal Krishna explained to the other devotees in the room. Vaishnava, Prabhupada added. Chadiya Vaishnava Seva Nishtar Payeche. Without serving a Vaishnava, one cannot be delivered from the material condition of life. Vaishnava's Kripa. Vaishnava is already merciful. Vaishnava means merciful. Kripa Sindhu, ocean of mercy. That is Vaishnav. Last night, Dr. Patak, the dean of the College of Veterinary, said, Srila Prabhupada is a touchstone who can transform everybody, Swarup Damodar said. This change with Haridas is a miracle, Panchadravida added, knowing that before meeting the devotees in Juhu, Haridas had been a professional thief, serving time in prison. Wow. I don't know who this Haridas is. Bombay is the richest city in India, Prabhupada said, and now they're willing to help us. So there will be no scarcity of money. Wherever you go, you'll get it. That project is so nice, you don't have to go anywhere, Tamal Krishna confirmed. They come to you and give money. Yes, Swarup Damodar agreed. That is Prabhupada's mercy. It's a long way from this grass hut we used to live in, Srila Prabhupada, Panchadravida said, and the devotees laughed. It's already so famous in Bombay, Swarup Damodar added. Everybody knows, all the taxi drivers, you just say Hare Krishna Land Juhu, everybody knows. Gradually the whole world will be sympathetic, Prabhupada predicted. Everyone will recognize that we are doing real service. The Ramanuja Kaviraj arrived the next day from Calcutta. He was a middle-aged Marwari, well-educated and nicely dressed, wearing Ramanuja tilak. Conversing in Hindi, Prabhupada asked him, You have Makara Dwaja? Yes. Please give me some and save me. Definitely you will be saved. In a dream, I saw Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu informing me to take Makara Dwaja from the Vaishnava Sampradaya. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was a Vaishnava. He was Lord Krishna's incarnation, Bhagavata avatar. You are the king of devotees, Bhaktaraj, and in his Sampradaya. My Guru Maharaj wanted me to preach. Is the preaching going on nicely? Yes, very nicely. Extensive preaching is going on, but some work is still pending. If you will save me. Only you can do it. We are ready to do it around the world, in every town and village. That is why this problem has come. Look, all these foreign devotees have come. Now it is in your hands, if you will save me. They are doing lots of work in Calcutta, very good preaching. It is happening in foreign countries, and in India, it will surely spread. Please cooperate. Surely we will support. Your name? Damodar Prasad Shastri. As you understand from the dream, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given you this chance. This is solely his mercy. A human being can only be an instrument. Nimitta matram bhava savyasachin, the Kaviraj said, quoting Lord Krishna's instruction to Arjuna. You, O Savyasachi, can be but an instrument. According to your understanding, you may treat me. The Kaviraj examined Prabhupada, and they discussed his swelling and other symptoms which he had been experiencing for months. Your whole life you didn't care for your body, the Kaviraj said. I had to accept many disciples, Prabhupada replied, so I had to accept their karma. The Kaviraj took Prabhupada's pulse, then listened to his chest with a stethoscope. He advised against Prabhupada taking Makardhwaj, explaining that in his condition, any medicine with mercury and arsenic would be poison. Here we go. He would prescribe other medicines to control Prabhupada's condition, and anticipated that in 10 or 15 days Prabhupada would be much improved. He assured the devotees that Prabhupada would get better because, although his kidneys and liver were weak, his heart was strong. He would first repair the liver and kidneys and then give Rasayana tonic for building strength. After Kaviraj left, Prabhupada said, "Take his chart and try to follow. This is the last resort." He seemed very hopeful, Tamal Krishna said. "They all say that your heart is very strong. Therefore, what is the question of dying?" Their whole contention is that because the heart is strong, there's no question of dying. And actually, that agrees with the astrologers. None of the astrologers say you will die now. They all say it's a difficult time, but they never say that you will die now. They all say you'll overcome this. That's nice. And your disciples all say that you will overcome. So I shall remain under this Kaviraj's treatment. That's all. Take his chart and strictly follow. I'll not object. I will follow. Is that all right? Yes, Prabhupada, the devotees replied. All of us, including Prabhupada, had hoped that the Juhu temple would be ready for opening on Ram Nomi, Ram Vijay Dasami, Dasara, celebrating Ram's victory over Ravan on October 21. And I had informed my parents and invited them to come then for the grand opening, the culmination of my work in India. And they had agreed to come. But with the delays in the construction and with Prabhupada's ill health, the opening was postponed. I cabled my parents and told them that the opening had been put off and that I would inform them when the new date was fixed so they could come then, but they never received my telegram. And I had to rush to Bombay to meet them. Because the Juhu Temple's guest house was not ready, I arranged accommodation for them in a nearby Holiday Inn, the best place in the area and quite fancy, and I introduced them to my friend Shushil Ashnani, who, like my father, was a lawyer. But there was not much for my parents to do, and they felt uncomfortable in the Bombay heat and humidity, so we decided to go to Nepal. Hey. One of our life members in Juhu, Shanta Shamshir Rana, was a member of one of Nepal's aristocratic families from which came, by hereditary tradition, the king's prime ministers. And he supplied me with letters of introduction. In Kathmandu, my parents, sister, and I stayed in a large, opulent hotel, the Yak and Yeti. And I would steal out in the early morning to chant and visit the holy shrines, including our ISKCON temple. I helped the temple president, Prabhavishnu, by introducing him to people connected with the royal family, assisting him with the society's registration and other administrative matters, and working with him on strategies for further progress. While I was away with my parents, Ramakrishna Bajaj and Sriman Narayan arrived in Vrindavan the day before the opening of their 2-day Gita Pratishtan conference and came to see Srila Prabhupada. Are you feeling better, Swamiji? They're always asking. Sriman Narayan began, yes, little. Prabhupada replied, always 2 attendants are taking care, otherwise personally I would not. So Tamal Krishna, who has got those films, I'm going to arrange with Akshayananda Maharaj. Tamal Krishna replied, the temple has everything here. Call him. And to his guests, Prabhupada said, just see our activities all over the world. And then to Tamal Krishna, why don't you show them the South Africa article? This is a temple we have built there, Tamal Krishna explained. We have a big farm there as well as 2 temples. This is one of the temples near Durban. They had 15,000 people attending the Janmashtami celebration. Here you see some Go Puja. Without culture, people are suffering, Prabhupada said. If you want to mitigate their sufferings, give this Gita culture. That is my experience. We have sold this Chaitanya Charitamrita even in Russian countries. Here are some of our African publications, Srila Prabhupada, Tamal Krishna said, published in Swahili. Wow. African, Chinese, Japanese. This is real humanitarian work. We can influence the whole world. What is the latest about the Bombay temple? Sriman Narayan asked. We haven't heard anything the last 2 months, Krishna said. This telegram came from the former mayor, Rajiv Ganatra. He wrote, pray God to give you long life, to spread Indian culture in every nook and corner of this universe. Wow. That is the feeling of everybody, Mr. Bajaj said. Para Upakar, Prabhupada said. This is the mission of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Para Upakar, especially for those who have taken birth in India. Here we go again. Bharata Bhumite Haile Manusha Janma Jar, Janma Sartha Kari Kara Upakar. This is Indian culture, Para Upakar. Indian culture is not meant for exploiting others. Para Upakar. That is human life, Para Upakar. And that is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission, Bharata especially. 2 days later, Shriman Narayan and Ramakrishna Bajaj came to meet Prabhupada again. Shriman Narayan said in Hindi that he had explained in the conference that because of ill health, Prabhupada could not address them, but he had spread Indian culture, Gita culture all over the world in the mood of Paropakar. This is Indian culture, Prabhupada said. Indian culture. Gita culture, they are the same. Shriman Narayan agreed. Yes, yada yada hi dharma shaglanir bhavati. Whenever there is discrepancy in human society, tadatmanam srijamyaham. At that time, Krishna appears. Pritranaya sadhunam vinashaya chaduskatam. This is the program, and when he comes, the time is fixed. Imam bhivaspate yogam proktavan avyayam. This system in Bhagavad Gita is yoga. Bhakti Yoga is the topmost. Yogi Namapi Sarvesham. There are many yogas. The aim is to come to the topmost yoga. That is Bhakti Yoga, and Krishna says to Arjuna, Bhaktosi me sakacheti rahasyam yetad uttamam. Because you are my bhakta and friend, therefore I'm speaking to you the old system, Paratana. No new system. People now introduce new systems. They introduce their own interpretation. No. Sriman Narayana told Prabhupada about 2 Hare Krishna films they had shown at the conference. People of the world are hankering after this civilization, Prabhupada said. Unfortunately, we're misers. We are not giving them all they should get, all that they should get. Sriman Narayan agreed. Prabhupada had Tamal Krishna read from the beginning of the 4th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, and when Tamal Krishna suggested that it read the purport to text 2, Prabhupada approved. Quote, it is clearly stated that the Gita was especially meant for the stately kings because they were to execute its purpose in ruling over the citizens, Tamal Krishna read. Certainly, Bhagavad Gita was never meant for the demoniac persons who would dissipate its value for no one's benefit and would devise all types of interpretations according to personal whims. As soon as the original purpose was scattered by the motives of unscrupulous commentators, there arose the need to reestablish the disciplic succession. 5,000 years ago, it was detected by the Lord himself that the disciplic succession was broken, and therefore he declared that the purpose of the Gita appeared to be lost. In the same way, at the present moment, also, there are so many editions of the Gita, but almost all of them, are not according to the authorized disciplic succession. There are innumerable interpretations rendered by different mundane scholars, but almost all of them do not accept the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna, although they make a good business on the words of Sri Krishna. The spirit is demoniac because demons do not believe in God, but simply enjoy the property of the Supreme. Since there is a great need for edition of Gita in English, as it is received by the Parampara disciplic succession system, an attempt is made herewith to fulfill this great want. Bhagavad Gita, accepted as it is a great boon to humanity, but if it is accepted as a treatise of philosophical speculations, it is simply a waste of time. Sriman Narayan expressed his appreciation for how Prabhupada had presented and people had accepted the Bhagavad Gita all over the world. It is really marvelous how it has happened. They were hankering, Prabhupada said, and as soon as they got it, they got life. Yes, Sriman Narayan agreed. They got light. Prabhupada's guests asked him in Hindi if they could speak with him alone, and Prabhupada told the devotees, "You can go, they will talk with me something." But when they went out, the devotees left the tape recorder near Prabhupada running. Since I met you yesterday and saw you in this condition, Mr. Bajaj began, a few questions appeared in my mind. We don't know about the relationship between you and God. We don't know when He may call you back to Him. So I was wondering, when you're not here, who will take care of such a big establishment that you built? I mean, won't there be someone who will take your position? They all will do that, Prabhupada said. They will do that. Won't there be one particular person or a group of about 5 or 10 people who will take your position? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu didn't say that just one person would be there. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, you all become guru. You become gurus the way I am saying you to be. Then the movement will spread around the world. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is alone, and you also are alone. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, I don't have the power. You come and make me powerful and spread the holy name around the world. This is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's teaching. But what you have done, how many could do that? No, it is a matter of trying. If you try, then you also can do this. But God empowers someone. Yes, God gives the power. Just then, Mr. Bajaj realized that the tape recorder was on and called one of the devotees to turn it off. But after a while, Tamal Krishna could no longer restrain himself and walked into the meeting. Mr. Bajaj and Sriman Narayan seemed a little embarrassed and frustrated. After they left, Tamal Krishna asked Prabhupada what they wanted. That after you, who will take the leadership, Prabhupada told him. And I said, all my disciples will take. If you want, you can also take, but if you follow. They are prepared to sacrifice everything, so they'll take the leadership. One may go away, but they will be hundreds, and they'll preach. If you want, you can also become a leader. We have no such thing here as a leader. Anyone who follows the previous leadership, he's the leader. Indian, we make no such distinction. Indian, European. They wanted an Indian to be the leader? Brahmananda asked. Yes, Prabhupada said, laughing. Everyone, all my disciples, they are leaders. As purely as they follow, they become leader. If you want to follow, you can also become a leader. You are Indian, but you don't want. I told them that. They probably wanted to propose somebody who would take over our movement, Tamal Krishna said. Yes, leaders. All nonsense. Leaders means one who has become first-class disciple. He is a leader. Evam parampara praptam. One who is perfectly following our instructions. Our instruction is ara nar kariha mane ash. You know this. Guru Mukha Padma Vakya Chitete Kariya Akya Arna Karihe Mane Ash. Who is leader? To become a leader is not very difficult, provided one is prepared to follow the instructions of a bona fide guru. They wanted us to leave the room when they were talking to you. I felt very bad when they told me to leave like that. I don't like to leave you alone. I get very disturbed. I was standing on the other side of the door. I didn't like leaving you alone like that. We're trained to always be with you. Deal with them very carefully, Prabhupada warned. Good reason for you to remain with us, Srila Prabhupada, Tamal Krishna said. They won't do anything while you're present. It's better that you should remain with us. Then they won't be able to do anything. Krishna will protect you. That day, Chitsukhananda brought Srila Prabhupada the latest volume of Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th Canto, Part 2. The volume was especially made for Srila Prabhupada with gold embossing. When Prabhupada looked at the pictures, everyone could see the love in his eyes, and Tamal Krishna remarked how much love for Krishna Prabhupada has. My parents and I stayed in Nepal for a little over a week, and then flew to New Delhi, from where they left for Chicago. I returned to Vrindavan. When I entered Prabhupada's room, Tamal Krishna told him, Giriraj is here. Oh, Giriraj, he said. Yes, Srila Prabhupada replied. How is your health? He was so kind and compassionate. Practically on his deathbed, he's asking me about my health. I'm better, he said, improved. What is the news of Nepal? They have got a very nice program there. They have a nice house with many rooms. How many rooms? About 9 big rooms. They do street sankirtan every day in the main street, and they distribute literature. The society is not yet registered there, but I went with Prabhu Vishnu to a lawyer, and we've set up the formalities for getting registered. But the government is presently reviewing the registration law, so it might take a few weeks before they accept our case. On the whole, it's favorable. Oh yes, there is tremendous scope. Prabhupada approved. The royal family is very powerful, I continued. They run the whole country. And of course, they're Hindus. So I went there. I also went with Prabhu Vishnu to meet a relative of Queen Mother, capital letters. And this lady was very enthusiastic about our activities. I discussed with Prabhu Vishnu the strategy for how to approach the royal family. It's a Hindu state. They don't claim to be secular like in India. So it is hopeful. And he has one local Nepali boy who has joined, and he's very nice. There's so much field for preaching. There's the royal family, there's life membership for the business community, there's Sankirtan and book distribution for the general people, and also there are many hippies. So we could recruit devotees from among them. The hippies seem to be very good customers, Tamal Krishna said, and Prabhupada laughed. That's because Prabhupada is Patita Pavan, I said, the deliverer of fallen souls. And the temple atmosphere is nice. The main Sankirtan, it's mainly Sankirtan, very good atmosphere. They have a nice program. They have a love feast program, and many people are coming. I think they can have 200 or 300 people coming very soon. And the people are very simple and good natured. Everywhere we went, people would chant Hare Krishna. They recognize the devotees? Tamal Krishna asked. Yes. And they're not envious. It seems that in India, many of the people are a little envious of us, but everywhere we went to Nepal, it seemed that the people were very happy to see us. Have you ever been there, Srila Prabhupada? Tamal Krishna asked. No. You'd like to go sometime? Why not? Okay, we'll include that in our world parikrama. The relative of the Queen Mother, whom we met, was also asking about people coming who could give good lectures and enthuse everyone. So I said that you yourself would probably like to come when you're feeling better. She was really wild about that idea. Everyone laughed. I'm sure that they would give you a real royal welcome. It sounds like a very good field, Tamal Krishna said. What about the language? Trivikram asked. Is that a problem? No, I replied, the educated people speak English. In all the schools, they teach English. So all the youngsters speak English in Kathmandu. And then most of the people in Kathmandu, even if they don't speak English, they speak Hindi. And there are just a few who speak only Nepali. But Prabhu Vishnu has arranged for the perfection of yoga to be translated into Nepali. He sounds like he's doing very well, Prabhu Vishnu, Tamal Krishna said. Good man. Yes, I agreed. He's very good. He is eager to get that in print. So he's eager to get that in print. Then they'll be able to distribute literature to everyone without exception. Srila Prabhupada, Tamal Krishna asked, do you remember when Prabhu Vishnu was here and you told him to go with the courage of an Englishman and the heart of a Bengali mother? He remembers those words. Yes, Prabhupada said. Those are the words of a great poet. Giriraj's parents took him there, Srila Prabhupada, and they made another offer to him. What's that? Prabhupada asked, and Tamal Krishna laughed. My father reached a fortune, so he was trying to tempt me again, I said, but I wasn't interested. But I think in the end, he may give it to Krishna, because we were helping Prabhu Vishnu by giving him dollars, and he would give us rupees. So we were in a shop, and my mother was making a check that she was going to give to me to give to Prabhu Vishnu. The owner of the shop thought the check was for him, and he started making objections. But my father said, no, in our system, the husband gives to the wife, and the wife gives to the son, and the son gives to Krishna. That's his father. Everyone laughed. And the devotees in the room with Prabhupada also laughed. Just try to manage, Prabhupada said. I had a very nice dream last night in which your divine grace appeared. I said after a pause, you were walking around the premises of the Vrindavan temple, and there were some doll exhibits. You were saying that they should improve the quality of the exhibits because this was their sadhana. I felt that actually you were telling me that I should improve the quality of my service and that this was my sadhana, but to be polite, instead you're saying it to me. Instead of saying it to me directly, you're pointing to their service. And then you started to speak very directly and boldly, and you quoted the verse, Amara Agyai Guru Hana Tar Edesh. And you were saying, this is my order, so you do it for me. I felt that you were saying that since it was your order and we were doing it for you, even though it was very difficult, it would be successful. Anyway, Prabhupada said, there's a beginning in Nepal. Try to implement. What is the rent on the house? It's about 1,200 rupees, but that's less than 1,000 Indian rupees. And it's right on the way to the Pashu Patinath temple, which is the biggest temple in Nepal. Very famous temple. People go there to see. How is it on the way? Directly on the way? Tamal Krishna asked. There's a crossroads that all the traffic passes to go to that temple, and our temple is just a few hundred yards from the crossroads. It's a bungalow. In the compound, they're growing flowers and vegetables. It's about a half an acre, and whatever land they have, they're using. The owner of the house is a Vaishnav, and his house is next door called Vishnu Nivas. Oh, Prabhupada said. And when he built the second house, he wanted it to be used as a temple, so he called it Bhagavan Nivas. They are taking their prasad and living there. They have a nice meal in the morning and evening, and in the day, the main activity is the chanting party, and around the chanting party, they distribute literature. After further discussion about the potential and positive points about Nepal, soft kirtan resumed. We're going to finish in a half a page, so be ready. I was a bit confused because Prabhupada had said so many encouraging things about Nepal, including just try to manage and try to implement, but I knew he wanted me in Bombay. So afterward I asked Tamal Krishna whether Prabhupada had said those things. He had been referring to me personally or to us as a movement collectively. Tamal Krishna said that he thought Prabhupada meant the movement, not me personally, and that seemed right. I was getting messages from Gopal Krishna that he wanted me to return to Bombay to help prepare for the temple opening, but I was in a dilemma. He's always in the dilemma space. I wanted to be dutiful, but I also wanted to stay and be with Srila Prabhupada. I asked Tamal Krishna what I should do, but he was silent. He would not give any indication. I asked him 2 or 3 times, but he would not respond. Then I asked Jagadish, and he analyzed the pros and cons of the options. But when I asked him what the conclusion should be, he told me that I would have to decide for myself. I prayed and prayed for guidance, for some indication, and it came in my heart that I should stay on with Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada. So that's 20 pages. That's our quota for tonight. We have another 80 pages. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.